Let's watch a little YouTube.
Nevada is an intimidating place.
Oh, I love venture to
It's the
Rome.
most mountainous state in the lower 48. It's rugged from top to bottom. And most of the time, if you need help, there is no one around for miles in every direction.
What the heck?
I didn't change the channel.
And good morning. We have an NBC News special report. We have breaking news coming from the U.S.
What is happening here?
We interrupt regular scheduled programming to notify you of an imminent threat to national security and public safety.
Is this for real?
The U.S. government has issued a national emergency for the continental United States. There have been multiple sightings of more than a dozen unidentified objects of unknown motive and origin that have landed across major population areas around the world. At this moment, all civilians outside of danger zones are urged to seek shelter, pack enough food, water, clothes, medical supplies, a flashlight, important documents, a first aid kit, toiletries, and a battery-powered or hand crank radio to endure the course of the emergency. Residents in the designated danger zones must evacuate
Bugout.
neighboring.
All right, so how did I find my bug out location? Last year, I was filming a video up in the Sierra Nevada called The Minimalist, and I saw a little offshoot near where I was filming, and I found that on awnings Off-Road. awnings Off-Road is just the gold standard in off-road mapping, and you can have it on your phone, on your iPad, or in this case here, really cool because they have an Apple CarPlay, Android Auto interface as well. If you haven't checked it out yet and you haven't become part of the awnings Off-Road community, there's a discount code that I'm going to put at the bottom of the screen here so that you can get 20% off your first year subscription to awnings Off-Road. So check out awnings Off-Road, and I want to tell awnings thank you so much for partnering with the channel. All right, so welcome back to the channel. I'm so glad that you're here. If you couldn't tell by the thumbnail or the title of this video, this is my bug out spot. And this spot here I chose for my bug out spot because it's very remote. You're gonna need high clearance, 4-wheel drive to get here. So it's very much off the beaten path. If everything goes wrong down in civilization below, I can get to this spot and really live here, sustain myself here for quite some time based on what I have in the vehicle. Chose this spot also, it's near to a body of water. If I needed to get water and filter it, because water is such an important element for survival. But in this video, I'm gonna take you through a handful of things. Probably, a short list of the most important things that I think you need in your bug out vehicle to be able to survive for an extended period of time. So let me take you through that now. Let's talk about what it takes to bug out. Here we go. All right, first we're gonna start with something pretty obvious, and that's shelter. But make sure you stay till the end because I'm gonna talk about something that not a lot of people talk about on YouTube. That'll be the last item in this video. Don't wanna spoil it yet. Let's start out with shelter. With my Jeep here, I have the Ursa Minor camper top. Let me go ahead and pop the top and show you how I get that set up. Hang on just a second. I pop the latch there in the back, and then there's just 2 latches across the front here. Let's go ahead and get those undone, and you can see how quick and easy it is to set up the Ursa Minor. There we go. Let that extend up all the way, and shelter is ready to go. One other piece to shelter is having an awning. Now, this is definitely not necessary for survival. It's kind of more of a nice to have. So let's get this set up just really quick here. All right, next item on the list is what I call my bug out bag. You might have seen me throw this in the back of the Volvo earlier in the video, but this thing is ready to go at all times with clothes and toiletries. So having that ready, last thing, if there's an emergency that you're gonna wanna do is start packing a bag. So have a bug out bag ready to rock and roll at all times. This is my bug out bag. Right, so we've hit shelter and we've hit kind of the essentials of having a bug out bag. I'm gonna talk to you about something that, trust me, a while back would not have been considered a necessity, and that is internet. I'm gonna quickly set up and show you how I set up my Starlink. Now, internet, is that really necessary for survival? I'm saying yes, because how else are you gonna know what's going on in the world if there truly is an emergency down in civilization? Having internet, even though there is kind of a high cost to it and a high power draw, I think it's important to have to be able to communicate with either those back down the hill away from your bug out location, or to gather information about what's going on in the world around you. So let me go ahead and get my Starlink set up. I have a custom mount that I can't wait to show you. Hang on, here we go. All right, so as I was just saying, I had a custom Starlink mount made by a buddy of a buddy, and it turned out awesome. It's right up here behind my awning, attached to the back side of my Rhino Rack Batwing awning, 3D printed. I'll leave some information in the description if you want to get something custom made for your Starlink setup, but let's go ahead and get that internet set up here and I'll show you how it all comes together. Hang on just a sec. All right, so here's my Starlink, and I have, yes, kind of still the big version. I think this might have been generation 2, if I'm not mistaken. This technology is gonna get smaller and smaller, so I'm really looking forward to that. But for now, I've got the Starlink carry case, everything you need in here, and this carbon fiber rod. Again, this is part of that custom mount. So let's go get this set up. All right, put that there. Starlink backpack here. Now, yes, the Starlink backpack, a little on the pricey side. I think it's worth it to have everything kind of self-contained here. So here is the dish. Again, I think this is a generation 2 dish. And the cool thing about the custom-made mount is this carbon fiber rod has just the right shape inside so that the Starlink attaches right in and clicks in. Now, let's go ahead and get this set up on the mount. Here we go. Okay, so you want to have your Starlink cable already attached in, and then this pole just simply goes right up, slides down and in, and there you have it. You can run now your cable here inside the vehicle, and with a Jeep, you can even close the door, which is nice. And super clean setup. As you can see, the Starlink dish will have full mobility, because sometimes those Starlink dishes go flat and they rotate around flat. If I did not have this custom mount, this dish would end up probably hitting my Ursa Minor right there whenever it needed to rotate on a flat plane. So there it is, internet at camp. I already explained why. I think it's a necessity for your bug out rig. All right, so we've talked about internet. How to power that, you're gonna need some sort of portable power station. What I'm using right now is the All Powers R1500 1152 watt-hour LiFePO4 battery. I know that's a mouthful. What I'm gonna do, bring it out here on the little pop-up table and show you some of the features of that power station right now. Here we go. All right, so let's get a chair set up here, my favorite front runner chair, and check out this All Powers R1500. Like I said, 1152 watt-hour battery. Now, All Powers did send me this unit to try out, and as I've been trying it out on the trail, it's worked out very well for me. It is a LiFePO4 battery, so you know that is kind of the highest end of reliability and output. Across the front, 4 of your typical household AC outlets, 120 volt. Those can peak up to 1800 watts, so you can run kind of some power tools. You need to run a blender or something like that off of them. And a really nice screen here. Color screen that tells you everything you need to know that's going on. Right now it's 46 watts output because it's running the Starlink right now. Shows you a nice battery level indicator. Over here, your typical DC output, and on the other side, 2 USB-A's, and those come out at 18 watts, and 2 USB-C's coming out at 100 watts. Now, something really cool about this that I love, not only does it have a flat top, which I think all portable power stations should have, but if you look here, we have 2 wireless charging pads with a 15 watt output. Now, over on one side, you push in this little door here, and there's a little expansion plug, a best way to put it, so you can actually expand this battery with expansion batteries and have more capacity. And then around this side, let me show this to you. This is where all of the charging ports are here. And you have a overload protector, you have the AC charge right here, and you have a solar input. Now, that is one of the really great things about this power station, that there is a couple different solar panel options that you can choose from. There's 400, I think 200, and 100. All Power sent me out the 200 watt solar panel. I'm gonna get that set up really quick. And the point I'm making here with this power station is you need sustainable power in your bug out situation, because at some point this thing's gonna run out if you don't have a way to charge it off of something like solar. So let me get that set up for you right now. So here is the 200 watt solar panel that was sent out by All Powers. Really great quality as far as I can tell. Here's the legs, and I'll show you how I'm gonna set this up in a second. Really nice thing here is there's a little carry case on the back to be able to put all of your cables in it when you're connecting to your portable power station. Let me get this set up really quick. All right, let's get this set up right here. These are always a little bit tricky to get all the legs out at the right angle or the best angle that you can, but let's say not bad. All right, there you have it, the All Powers R1500, and I'm impressed. I think you'll also be impressed with the price point. Sometimes batteries like this, you're paying up to, you know, $1 per watt hour. So this thing could cost upwards of $1,000. I think right now by itself, I'll put the price right over here. And then if you want to combo that with, in this case, the 200 watt solar panel, the price is, so as you can see, pretty great price. Let's add to the discounts. And if you use the discount code TrailNewbie, so that's hopefully easy to remember, you'll get an additional 10% off your All Powers setup. So having a portable power station at your bug out spot, I think, is a total necessity, especially something that has a solar setup. Okay, so now maybe one of the most important things, and that's obvious, and that is water. So water, you can only carry so much water on board your rig. I'm gonna show you how essentially you can have an unlimited water supply here in a second. But starting out, what I have is a 2-gallon Rotopack tank right here, full of water. That's kind of my reserve tank. And then back up in here, I have the Dometic, I think it's called the Dometic Go jug or something to that effect, which is right around 3 to 4 gallons of water. So 6 gallons of water on board. I also usually have another Rotopack right here, which is another 2 gallons of water. So that's 2, 4, and then roughly another 3 to 4. So almost 8 gallons of water on board at all times. That Dometic Go jug, I think it's called Hydration Go. I'll leave some information about that in the description. Has a really nice water line that comes out here and has a connector with the faucet. You turn that faucet on and you have water right at camp. Really, really, really convenient to have this, this setup here. And I've just kind of done this myself with some Velcro so that I can pack this thing away really easy and close up the tailgate. So onboard water, great. You have 7 gallons, 8 gallons of water. How long is that really gonna last you? Well, I want to show you one thing that I think everyone needs to have in a bug out vehicle, and that is a high volume water filter. It hasn't been opened yet because don't have a need to use it yet. If this were a real you know, emergency life or death type of situation, this could be filled up with water from maybe that stream that you saw me driving through earlier, or if you parked closer to a lake, you could fill this up really easy and have purified water. Now, something like this purifies up to 4,755 gallons of water. I think we're gonna be okay on water if you have one of these handy. Super lightweight, this weighs almost nothing. As you can see, it's a jug here. Here's the filter. There's no batteries, there's nothing to plug it into. There's just kind of a squeeze pump there that can create the pressure so that the water flows through the water filter. This is critical for a bug out rig. All right, so we've got water covered. Now let's talk about something important, which is food. Now, if you need to bug out, you cannot just go run to the grocery store because you're in an emergency situation. You may not have access to a grocery store. They may be closed down. The shelves may already be empty, something to that effect. So you're gonna need to have food storage in your rig at all time. Back here, I have my front runner boxes. If you've seen this channel, you know that these top two are connected, these bottom two are connected, and they have legs that I attach in there. So around camp, they're kind of high up, almost like a bar height, and I can, set stuff on them, cook on them, etc. Well, one of these is completely full of freeze-dried food. You know those food in a bag where you just add hot water? Those are incredible to have. They last forever. Let me just show you what I got, and we'll check that out. Let's just pull this out here, and I'm not gonna get this all the way out. Let's flip down my table. This entire box right here is just full of freeze-dried food. Take the whole thing out and set this back in here. There we go. All right, so let's look inside here. I have not looked in here in a while, but a staple in any sort of bug out bag, freeze-dried food is ramen. Look at the calories per bag, 510. So that's gonna be a great high calorie item for you to have. Next in here, I have some kind of honey, sesame, seed, little power bars, so to speak. They don't have any chocolate in them or anything like that, so there's nothing that will melt. These are 310 calories. So you're really looking for something that is high calorie, but will store for a long time. I looked on those. The expiration date on these isn't until mid 2025. Also, when you're just around camp, kind of doing normal camping, it's smart to maybe just eat some of this as you go and then replenish it with new stuff so you don't end up with stuff that is well beyond its expiration date. Here I've got some oatmeal. Not sure where this peanut butter came from. I think it's sealed. I believe that lasts for a good period of time. Yeah, this doesn't expire until April of 2025. High in calorie, very, very good to have. And like I said, the oatmeal as well. Slide this over. Now we're getting down to it. Here's a hand soap. Don't eat the hand soap, kids. Now we're getting into, all right, let's get in here, and here it is, chicken Alfredo pasta. The crazy thing is these actually taste really good. I haven't come across one that I didn't like, to be honest. And turning this over, back, high calorie. The entire bag, 870 calories. This is technically 2 servings, but it's just add water. And you heat the water up, put it in there, close it up, stir it around, leave it for maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and these things are excellent. Also, they're super lightweight, so you're not bogging down your rig with a lot of extra weight. Other very popular brand, your Mountain House, and one of my favorites is the biscuit and gravy. Let's take a look. 900 calories in this bag. So I wouldn't recommend, if you're just out camping, that you're just pounding these all the time, because eventually it's gonna be packing on. These are meant to be high calorie. Another biscuits and gravy, 1100 calories. So load up your bug out rig with just a good amount of this stuff, something that could last you. I feel like I could last on this amount of food, most likely for, if I really had to, a week to 2 weeks, something to that effect. but having enough food for a long period of time is very important. If you had nothing here, you'd be foraging for nuts and berries, which doesn't sound like a whole lot of fun. Okay, so next up is not going to be needed right now. It's summer. Summer's upon us. I think first day of summer was 2 days ago. But here I have a custom-built diesel heater. If you had to bug out in the middle of winter in freezing temperatures, this is a necessity in my opinion. You're going to want to have this on hand. Now, I'm not following my own code, which is this should be full at all times, but seeing as it is the middle of summer or the beginning of summer, I don't have this full. It's compact. A diesel heater packs a huge punch, especially for those really, really cold nights in your tent. I've slept in 7-degree temperature and been able to run this thing, and I'm in my tent and it's 65, 70 degrees. Sometimes it almost gets too hot inside a tent. You got to turn one of these bad boys way down on low. But just a quick item here, I think having a quality diesel heater is a key component to any sort of bug out rig. All right, now I'm going to take you to two things that I'm going to say don't really get talked about in these types of videos. And the first one is camouflage. Stay around to the very last one, because that is one that in a lot of cases gets people kicked off of YouTube. Hopefully that doesn't happen to me. Camouflage. Is that what I'm going to be wearing? The answer is no. I'm actually going to show you a very simple way to camouflage your vehicle or your bug out rig, such that if there were airplanes flying overhead, you would not just be so obviously seen from the top of a mountain here. Or if there was maybe more of a high traffic area around you, then you wouldn't have issues of people being able to see you so easy. Of course, we're not going to be able to fully camouflage the entire vehicle, but just giving you a low-cost idea to give yourself one little extra layer of protection, and that's camouflage. All right, let's put this down here. Now, camouflage. I had to go to my local Sportsman's and pick up a couple of these panels. I think these are like roughly 10 to 12 feet by 5 feet. And I'm going to show you what this can do for a vehicle versus what this thing looks like wide out and in the open. Okay, so I got two panels of camo. I think they're about 12 feet or so by 5 feet. It's not going to be enough to cover this whole vehicle. I need to work this out by connecting some of these, perhaps buying a few more and making just a big tarp that will go over the entire vehicle. I'm going to go ahead and get these on. I'm going to spare you the details of that because it might take a little bit of time. But here is the before and here is the after. Now, I only had two of the panels with me. Obviously, if I was doing this to try to get more full coverage, I would have a panel that could go over the roof there, because that's kind of a glaring item. If there was a plane over top and looking down, that giant white square should be covered. So I'm probably going to be investing in more of these, sewing them together so it's one big tarp rather than the two panels. I have one panel going up the front here and one panel going down the side. But compared to the before, it makes quite a difference in terms of being able to see the rig from a far away distance. Without these camouflage panels, it's wide out in the open, and with them, if you were, say, on one of the other hilltops over there and you had binoculars looking, you would have a whole lot more protection in terms of having this camouflage on the vehicle. Maybe just buy a tan vehicle. That might be the tip for a bug out vehicle. I have the bright white. I love the white and black combo, but I'm susceptible to being seen out in the open or out in kind of the forest like this. So camouflage, I think it's critical for your bug out rig. Okay, so now last but not least, and that is protection. And something that you don't necessarily want to show on YouTube, but I think any bug out rig should really have maybe even a couple forms of protection. Protection that might be for close-up situations, and protection that might be more for long distance situations. But making sure that you can toss some protection into your bug out rig very quickly, that you have that in your mind, maybe even make a quick checklist that you need to have your bug out bag with all your clothes and toiletries. You need to have your protection as well. You don't want to keep this, and I don't keep this inside my vehicle at all times, but this would obviously be for longer distance situations when it comes to needing to defend yourself or protect yourself. Let me put this back and let me show you what I also have that is more related to a close-up encounter. So just one second here. So inside the vehicle, and I do have my concealed carry, so this actually does remain in the vehicle for the most part, but you should not keep any sort of protection inside a vehicle without first having a safe. So right down in here you can see the safe that I've installed. It's lock and key, and that opens up, and inside is a little something for those close encounters. Should somebody come up on you at your bug out location and threaten harm to you or somebody who's in your party. So having multiple types of protection, I think, is very important. Obviously, being trained and doing everything legally from that perspective in terms of transporting and so on is critical. But in a bug out situation, you need protection, and there you have it: long distance and close encounters. All right, so that's gonna do it for this video, guys. The bug out rig. And as you know from watching the channel, I'm generally in the overlanding space and car camping space. You can convert and or use your overlanding rig as your bug out vehicle quite easily. You just need to really have a few things on hand, in my opinion, at all times. We went through some of those: a great water supply, some freeze-dried food, having internet, having some protection as I described. Obviously, having some shelter and a place to lay your head at night is important, but all those things come together, and if you do it right and you pre-plan it, that way when there's an emergency, your bug out rig will be ready to go and you'll be able to bug out. As I usually say, thanks for coming along for the ride.